Hi, my name is Cimafiejeva. I'm a poet and translator from Belarus, and since November 2020, together with my husband, writer I've been here in Graz with the invitation of Kulturvermittlung Steiermark. And I want to tell you about one project that is called Liebe, unbekannte, Freundin, Briefe, nach Belarus, that is done by Kulturvermittlung Steiermark and Verein, Handlungsspielraum. This much we decided to dedicate to the Belarusian women political prisoners and to urge Austrian women to write letters to their unknown friends in Belarus. But first, I guess many of you heard about my homeland, Belarus, in August 2020, when after the rigged presidential elections, huge protests started. I guess you remember the photos of those women in white with flowers in their hands. And you also remember the photos of bloodied faces of the demonstrators. Have you ever thought what ending this protest story had? Actually, it has not ended yet. It has not calmed down. Moreover, the repressions used against the peaceful protesters have become even more harsh. Since summer 2020, several thousands of people have come through administrative arrests, several dozens of thousands of people left the country, more than 200 NGOs have been liquidated, with Goethe Institute, the Union of Belarusian Writers, Belarusian PEN among them. And there are real people sentenced to real terms for taking part in the peaceful protests, for clapping hands, for playing music, like my brother and his wife. There are much more ridiculous crimes, if I can say so, like a comment on Facebook or a poo emoji that can be considered as a gross insult by a local policeman. You can be arrested for a month or two for white, red, white socks or for a sticker on your mobile. At the moment, 1,078 people are recognized as political prisoners in Belarus. 136 of them are women. Who are they? They are teachers, musicians, artists, students, journalists, mothers of 5, mothers of 3, retired women, LGBTQ activists, animal lovers. They're like you. They could be frightened for their children that some of them are separated from. They can be gloomy, that they do not see daylight, or their toilet in their cell does not have a door. They can cry, but they can also feel joy when they get a bright postcard from an old friend or a pleasantly favored soap. These women had their normal lives. They planted flowers, they taught students, they raised kids, but then they decided to express their opinion on the brutality of the state and were punished for that, with long months and even years of imprisonment. The question that I'm often asked when I tell about the situation in Belarus is, how can we help? So, for example, you can influence your politicians that forget about Belarus, as it's a too long story. But this inability to react promptly has led to the situation when Belarus is under the Russian occupation and its territory is used as a base area for Russian weapons and troops used against our good neighbor, Ukraine. You can also help financially. There are several foundations that help the families of political prisoners to pay for their lawyers or to make parcels to jail. They also help to evacuate people who are under the threat of arrest to flee the country. So the information about them you can see on the screen. Please donate if you feel an urge to. But there is another way to support those who are behind the bars. You can write a letter to them, like in all good times. I've been writing letters for almost a year now from Graz. I can't say that I'm a hero or something, but I've written around 300 letters, different kind of letters, paper letters, cute postcards, or long letters online through special internet services that we have in Belarus. I know that letters are one of the most important things that support women in those grey cells without daylight. They lack positive emotions there. They lack impressions. They feel isolated and estranged from their normal lives. And letters can help them obtain all these things. Getting letters and answering letters back. So we decided to have this action to show Belarusian women that they are not isolated, that they are not alone, that even in Austria, other women think about them and want to support. It sounds so nice, right? But unfortunately, it's not so simple. You have to be ready that your letter won't get to the addressee, that it can be kind of lost or destroyed. And your letter to Belarusian prison or detention center has to be censored first. And that censor can just stop your letter full of kind words and good wishes. No one can guarantee that it will get to the woman you are writing to, but still there is a chance. And still it's important to write. It is what helped those brave and clever and kind women not to give up. And at the same time, letters from abroad show the detention center or prison staff that if these women are addressed from these faraway countries, they should react nicer, they should behave nicer to these women. So, what can you write about in order to make chances that your message will get to the political prisoners higher? I'll start with don'ts. Please, no insults, no slogans, no politics, no too intimate information. Do not forget that your letter is going to be read by an unfriendly censor that can use that information either against you or against the prisoner. So what can you write about? First, introduce yourself. Tell a bit about yourself. Your occupation, your hobbies, your family if you want to. And you can also explain why you are writing this letter. Do you want to support them? Do you feel compassion? Or do you feel interest? Tell them about that. You can also describe the place where you live. I often do that when I write for the first or for the second time. For example, you can tell about Graz or other cities or towns. How it looks like, what you like in that city, and what you don't. Tell a bit about history of your place, about its people. Women political prisoners are kept in a small room, and even when they are taken for a walk, they see only the concrete walls of the narrow space with a slice of the bad sky above their heads. So your description of such normal things as streets, people, buildings, green parks, snow if you have one, can give them many emotions, can arouse their fantasy. You can also write about what you read, who your favorite authors are, as reading is one of the most important things for the prisoners along with letters and sports. They've told about that to me. You can tell them about your pets, or your garden plans for the spring, or your potted plants, or the hobby you love, or the job you hate, but please don't forget about the censor between you. So there are plenty of topics you can tackle with a person you know not so much about. Another important thing is the language. Letters written only in Russian or Belarusian languages are allowed. But in the frames of our project, Liebe, unbekannte, Freundin, Briefe nach Belarus, we will do that part for you, so you can relax and write them in English and German. So now I will tell you a bit about the whole procedure. First, you should feel the urge to write a letter to a known female friend in Belarus. Second, you write a letter to the email you can see on your screen, Briefe schreiben Kulturvermittlung.org, about your interest, about your wish to support. You get an address and you get an information about a woman, her age, her picture, her interest, the thing she was punished for, the term of her arrest. Then you write your letter in English and Belarusian and then send it to us back. We translate that letter into Belarusian or Russian and send this letter to Belarus. Then you are writing for the response. And we hope very hotly that you will get one. So, thank you for your attention. Thank you for support. We're waiting for your response.